when the world says to us, oh, you're storming Temple Mount, you want to change the status of Temple Mount, or what Hamas do all the time, they try to curate the conflict by saying that Israelis are going to storm and take back the Temple Mount. We do the opposite. We facilitate their freedom of worship at the cost of our own freedom of worship, which we give up on in order for Muslims to come and peacefully worship on Temple Mount. And this is what they tell people, and Muslims around the world get worried.
Have you ever seen a view this beautiful? The amazing old city of Jerusalem. The most clear view of the Temple Mount that you could possibly get. Wow. And a huge thank you to Mayor Fleur of Jerusalem, because this VIP view is just, it's breathtaking. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. You know, a lot of people come here expecting to see an apartheid or oppression or segregation, and Jerusalem is the furthest thing from that. If you just look around, if you see so many different cultures here, you see Arab Muslims and Arab Christians and all sorts of Christians and Jews and all, just every religion you can possibly think of, just living in solidarity here. It's the ultimate melting pot. I think it's funny because everyone always calls America a melting pot, but Israel is probably more diverse than anywhere I've ever seen. And all the different cultures just live here in solidarity. You have different quarters here where there's different concentrations of, you know, different cultures where they celebrate each other's cultures, but it doesn't mean you have to stay there. I just feel privileged to even be able to step foot in somewhere so sacred. So this is the amazing Deputy Mayor Fleur of Jerusalem. Can you please walk me through the geopolitical importance and significance of this region?
So first of all, we're standing on the roof of an incredible building called Torah, which is kind of like a Jewish place of learning. And this is the best view in town.
Yes, it is.
This is a Wailing Wall, which people think it's the most holy Jewish site, but it's not. The Temple Mount which is above there where the two mosques are, that is actually the most holy place because that's where the temple stood, the Temple of Solomon. 2 temples were destroyed that were there, that existed there. And then hundreds of years later, the rule changed, and eventually when the Muslims ruled the city for a little bit, they built these mosques. But what's unfortunately very sad is that even though it's our most holiest site, Jews are not allowed to pray there because we're very sensitive to the Muslims here, and they don't want anybody else, also Christians, to pray on the Temple Mount. And so we kind of, give up our freedom of worship in order to keep the peace in the city. And so, there are groups of Jews that go up once, twice a day through this bridge because we can't go in through the regular gate that goes to the Temple Mount, again, for sensitivity reasons and for not, blowing the whole issue up. And if they pray on Temple Mount, and Jews or Christians, they can get arrested by Israeli police.
Wow.
And so when the world says to us, oh, you're storming Temple Mount, you want to change the status of Temple Mount, or what Hamas do all the time, they try to curate the conflict by saying that Israel, this is what they tell people, and Muslims around the world get worried. Israelis are going to storm and take back the Temple Mount. We do the opposite. We facilitate their freedom of worship at the cost of our own freedom of worship, which we give up on in order for Muslims to come and peacefully worship on Temple Mount. And we even facilitate that during the Ramadan, where we put buses from the different Arab villages and towns so that they can come. And there's almost 100,000 Muslim worshippers here on every Friday of Ramadan. And so when they're telling you online that Jews are going to take over Temple Mount, it's a barefaced lie in order to get the emotions of the Muslim world going, in order to justify a war and attacking us.
Wow. It's profound to me the amount of effort that the Jewish Israelis go through just to keep that peace and solidarity. Because just so that's crystal clear, the Temple Mount is the most holy place in all of Jewish faith, yet you still sacrifice some of your own access just to give that comfortability to the Muslims so that they have the ultimate level of access. And, how does it make you feel when people try to say that Israel's an apartheid state?
Well, you've been walking around, right? And you've seen Jews, Muslims walking, eating in the same cafes, walking in the same places. It's a barefaced lie. There is, the Israeli sovereign territory, and then there are the Palestinian Authority territory. That's like saying that, why don't Mexicans have the same rights in America as the Americans? It's a different territory run by the Palestinian Authority. who we gave the sovereignty to run their own people. 94% of Palestinians are living under their own sovereignty, but you would never know because they blame everything on Israel. And because we keep security control, because unfortunately we really can't trust the very corrupt Palestinian Authority to protect us. And so for that reason, they say that we have an apartheid state. It's two different sovereign territories, two different territories. That's just a border.
Yeah. Would you say that's the biggest misconception about Israel?
I think the biggest misconception about Israel is the fact that we are white European colonialists in a land that we have no connection to. The temple here, 2 temples were built by Solomon. We see the wall. This is the proof that the temples existed. All the archaeology that you find in the area, you see coins from different eras of Jewish control in the city. And King David built the city of Jerusalem when it was a backwater town that nobody even looked at.
Wow.
3,000 years ago. This city was built by King David, our king, Jewish king. And so, to say that we are like the Belgians in Congo that came and colonized, we are the indigenous people of this land. When I actually did a DNA test, I'm Middle Eastern, a good chunk of me. The other part is Spanish Moroccan because we were kicked out. Jews have been slaughtered, kicked out, conquered, reconquered, but we have been here for 3,000 years in a city that we built to be the capital of the Jewish people.
Yes.
And thank God, it's a miracle that we're back here after 2,500 years in our sovereign state with our capital is Jerusalem, and it will remain our capital. And whatever arrangement we will have with the Palestinians, Jerusalem will still remain the capital of the Jewish people in the state of Israel.
Absolutely.
And we've come home. We're not foreign colonizers. This is our home.
Yes.
This is where we were created and made and we developed as a people, Israel. There's, hundreds of references to this in the Bible, as you know, and we came back, we're home.
Yes. So there's a lot of conversations about the relations between Muslims and Jewish in this region, but as the deputy mayor of Jerusalem, what do you think of the solidarity between the Jewish community and the Christian community in Israel?
Oh, so, there's a very small Christian community in Israel, but it's growing. It's the only community that's growing and the only Christian community that's growing in the Middle East is here.
Wow.
The whole of the Middle East region used to have 20% Christians. Today they have 4% Christian. Bethlehem, which is, the birthplace of Jesus, in the Church of the Nativity there, used to be 80% Christians. Today, under Palestine, when it was under Israeli rule, it was 80% Christians. Under Palestinian rule, it's gone down to 10% Christians. And so the only guarantee of the freedom of worship of Christians in the Holy City and the Holy Land is Israeli sovereignty.
Wow. If there was one thing that you wish that more people understood about Jerusalem or Israel as a whole, what would that be?
So in Jerusalem, we sanctify our pluralism. We sanctify the freedom of worship. We're a mixed city. We're the most diverse city in the country. 40% Arabs, small percentage, 3% Christians, and many different versions of Jews, from ultra-Orthodox to completely secular. And I believe that Jerusalem is not the core of the problem, but is the laboratory of the solution. If we can figure it out here, with everybody here living together, then we can figure it out everywhere else.
One thing that surprises me that Jerusalem isn't more known for, but it's known here in Israel, but outside of Israel, people don't know, there's always a celebration going on here. There's always so much fun at the Shuk. And do you just want to talk about that a bit too?
Well, I think that what's been very clear, even through the worst atrocities that have happened to us since the Holocaust, is that Israel and Jews sanctify life.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the terrorists who came and savaged us on that day sanctified death. And that's the difference.
Yes.
And that's why we will win. Because we look forward. We've been persecuted for 3,000 years, but we did not develop a victim identity. We developed a resilient identity, an identity for moving forward and for celebrating life. And today we're here in the old city celebrating a bar mitzvah, adult bar mitzvah of these Jewish friends of mine who never had the opportunity for some reason to celebrate a bar mitzvah. And they're, 25, 42, in their 30s. And we're going to be celebrating that today because we celebrate life.
I love that. And one last question for you. How would you say Jerusalem has changed, if at all, since October 7th?
Well, this place, even now in the winter, would be buzzing with tourists. And it's not. Only solidarity tourism, like you and your friends. unfortunately, tourism is crashed, like COVID. And that's really the main difference you would see in Jerusalem, that normally the shuk is buzzing and, people are out, even on a rainy day. This would have been packed with tourists, and today it's a little emptier. So we pray for peace, and we pray that our tourists come back, because there's no other city like this in the world.
Do you think now is a good time for more people to visit?
I think that if you have the salts for it, if you want to come and come in solidarity with the Jewish people, Jerusalem's pretty safe. We haven't had that many sirens. We had many sirens at the beginning of the war, but because of the Muslim sites here, Hamas don't attack Jerusalem too much. Also, 40% of our population are, like I said, Muslim. They sent a few rockets a few weeks ago, and one of them landed in Bethlehem. So I think that they've figured out that it's more dangerous to go to the risk of killing. They also killed a young Muslim boy in Abu Ghosh, which is a village just outside Jerusalem. So the two times that they've sent rockets that have really landed have actually hurt their own Muslim community. So I think they're being more careful now. So I would say that Jerusalem has also become a city of refuge for over 50,000 evacuees from the north and the south, mainly from the north. And I would say that right now, Jerusalem is the safest city in the country. So please come.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Xavier.